Hi, my name is Shawn Shaler. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka The Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter. Welcome to Avatar The Last Podcasters. And today we're talking about picking fights. Not with our siblings, which Chris is historically on record as doing on purpose. Chris, how are you? What's up? How you been?
I've been fine. I've been perfectly fine. Good. Great.
I think
That's it.
was that the Avatar, the best Avatar fights episode where we talked about our fist fighting history?
Yeah.
Had to be, right? Had to be.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what have you been up to? Anything interesting?
Nothing interesting happening in my world since the last time we talked, Sean. Nothing I care to bring up. Uh,
No
uh
squirrels looking
no,
for lost family members. No, you're right. We got to save that for next episode, Chris. It fits better in the next episode.
um yeah, never mind. No, everything's I've been in the Dragon Ball Z mood lately.
Hmm?
Like even in this past month, I've been going back watching Dragon Ball Z, and then a new Dragon Ball Z game came out, Sparkling Zero. I had no intention of really buying this game at all because I'm not that into fighting games. And then one day I was just like, before it came out, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go buy it because I'm just in the Dragon Ball Z mood, and I've been playing that game, and it's been pretty fun. It's a great game.
It's getting rave
Uh,
reviews, and for a Dragon Ball game, it's getting great sales numbers.
yeah,
Hmm?
really great sales numbers.
Awesome. I can't believe I forgot to send it to you. It's just a stupid meme where whatever Dragon Ball character that now I can't even think of is like, is this your final form? And then on top of the cliff, it's Patrick, and he says, no, this is Patrick.
I saw that. I saw that meme. I don't know where. No, this is
No,
Patrick.
this is Patrick. God, it's so dumb. I love it. Uh, Chris, did you mention that there was some news? If there is, it'll be news to me.
Yes. But then ask how are you, Sean?
Oh, I'm good. Other than we went on a trip last week, and then my wife had a work trip this week, so I had to be a single dad to a teenage son for a few days this week to a completely independent,
Time flies.
1,000% well mannered teenage son. Um, but like it just one of those things where it kind of throws your week out of loop. And then I tried to mod my Switch, uh, and it's going horribly. I stripped right away, just trying to take the screws out of the Joy-Con rails, the metal Joy-Con rails.
Yeah.
One just like instantly stripped. Like I just turned the screwdriver and it just like cut out metal. It was so frustrating.
Uh,
And then the other side, I got all the screws out right away. The guardrail just the Joy-Con rail just fell off, and that's not supposed to happen because it's like there's electronic in there that charges the Joy-Con. It just fell off, and I can see there's a little piece that I had to solder or replace or something. I don't know why it just fell off, but it did. So I've had better, not awful, but I've had better weeks.
why
Such
did
is
you want to
life.
move your Switch?
I would like to. Is Nintendo listening to this right now? I would like to
Uh,
explore the
no.
full capabilities of my Switch hardware. Um, what's things that Nintendo can't? Not that Nintendo's listening to our podcast. But what's things they can't get upset about? You can, if you modify your Switch, you can like overclock it, so you can run games, just a little better resolutions and things. You
Oh, okay.
can maybe apply. See, I'm scared of Nintendo because they're suing everybody right now.
Well, no, you don't have to mention it. I get the gist now.
You do fun things when you mod it, but yeah. So I do want to, and now that it's basically broken. If there's one thing, it's like now I'm playing with house money, so it's like I just as well continue and see if I can get
That's
it
the
to work.
opposite of that.
Because well, it's like
I like that's
it's already broken, right? I can't make it too much worse, so I just as well continue and at least see if I can get it to work
that's like
and
saying, you
learn my
know what?
lessons.
I'm $10,000 in debt with the casino. I might as well be $15,000 in debt with the casino.
But my cost has already been paid for the Switch, right? I can't lose more
That's,
money by continuing to
that,
mod this Switch, even if I suppose I could break it a little more, but now I kind of have to fix it. Anyway, be better at modding than me. Kids, do that. That's my week.
All right, a little bit of news, potential news, rumors, if you will. This is from Morgan at Airspeed Prime, who. So at one point, I was like, you know what? We might be the longest running Avatar podcast there is.
That's kind of awesome
And
to
I was
say out
thinking,
loud.
like, but then I know Morgan at Airspeed Prime has been doing it for a while. I was like, let me go look how long he's been doing it. And I looked at his YouTube page. It's been like since 2011, like since Korra first came up.
He had
Like, wow, he wins.
he was speaking into a microphone before I owned a computer.
Yeah.
There's a
Um,
Bane quote adaptation in there somewhere if you want to give it a shot. It's in there.
and sometimes he finds like little random news nuggets and stuff. This comes from some type of U.S. copyright listing, but it's rumored that the 2026 Aang movie, animated Aang movie, will be called Lost Realm. It suggests the movie will be complete, as in finished filming and everything. November 2025, released January 2026. We already kind of knew that. And there's a description. It says, years following the events of the beloved original series Avatar, a new evil threatens the future of all four nations. Avatar Aang must rally his friends to defeat a new villain, the likes of which they've never seen before. Says starring Dave Bautista, Dion Kwan, Eric Nam, all these other people. Oh, Stephen Ewing, who voiced Avatar One, who's also from The Walking Dead, will be in it apparently. So I don't know, just a quick little summary. Seems like maybe the gang's kind of split up. Maybe after all their adult years and stuff, which you would imagine would happen to
Normal everyone's.
yeah. And like Aang might have to rally them together, get the band back, I guess.
Gonna be like the first Muppets movie, the live action one.
I don't remember it.
It is a decent movie for what it is. What is it? Muppets Back in Action, I think it's what it's called. Anyway.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, congratulations to that guy for having a longer podcast than us. That's impressive. That's like the one thing you can't beat. You can't go back in time.
That's true.
What was I doing in 2011? I was getting engaged to my wife and being a junior/senior in college.
I was working at Payless. I might have just got promoted to
You're just a year older
planner.
than me, right?
I'm 36.
Okay, got you. Oh, I thought you were just a year older. I guess you'd like a year and a half, so maybe 2 grades. I got you. Awesome. Well, I mean, I don't know. That sounds exciting enough. Other than like my bog standard, not nitpicks, not qualms, nitpicks. My bog standard nitpicks of, let's get to a different universe and stuff. But I understand that like this is what the movie's going to be about, and hope it's great.
Yeah. What's that? It doesn't excite me as much as the first draft synopsis I wrote for Avatar Kitsune et Zero.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows when I'll actually when will actually
and listening to Rise of Kyoshi is just giving me all this great inspiration all over again. Man, you know what? And the video game announcement, the more I think about that, the more excited I get about it, just because it finally hits a lot of buttons that I like. And I won't review them all. Go listen to our previous episode where we chat about it, but I feel like that video game gives me hope deservedly. Chris, let's talk about the best fights in The Legend of Korra. You have graciously put together a list of the top 10 best fights in Korra, and it's much more violent than Avatar: The Last Airbender. There's many more deaths to choose from. No, not sorry. God, I'm mixing up my episodes. Well, but it's still much more violent. Best fights in Korra, not best deaths. And we'll just go snake draft style. And then, why don't you start with the evens, and then you'll get to 2 as an even, And then I'll do honorable mentions, and then you can do one.
All right, one second. Let me find this stupid list because for some reason it. Yeah, I still don't get. One second. Best fights. Best
Mine,
fight.
I've got some pinned, but mine does go like recency first.
Here, it was accidentally archived. Okay, I got it here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Number 10 is the Korra versus Unavatu fight. So the giant kaiju battle at the end of book 2. I know a lot of people don't like that battle. And you know what? That's fine. That's why it's number 10. Um, I, I, I just talked about Dragon Ball Z. I like power beams. Like I like when there's like a random power beam struggle. Um, I like a lot of stuff about that fight. That's why it's on the list. I like the fight.
Hmm? Uh, I'm kind of the opposite. That like power creep or like the things that I kind of literally don't like about a lot of anime. Like everything gets bigger metaphorically. Like, well, here it gets bigger literally. I'm just not all about that life. But it's an important fight. It's neat. It's different. It's exciting. I love seeing Korra find a way to defeat her literal biggest enemy. It's a good fight.
Yeah,
Ten's,
and
ten's the
that's a
right
good
place for it,
point
I think.
because we oftentimes Korra's power is underrated. Like she herself tapped into the cosmic energy and bend the energy within her cells. I don't something that we don't see other benders ever do. Granted, harmonic convergence. I doubt someone could do that without harmonic convergence. But her alone, no Avatar spirit, no Rava defeated the living embodiment of chaos and evil or chaos and darkness. So yeah,
Hmm?
that's a great little win.
Kind of literal monumental.
Yeah.
Hmm? Number 9, we have Korra versus Kuvira round 2. Round 2 specifically. So the last one, not the first one, obviously, for obvious reasons. Um, does this fight probably packs more emotion than a lot of the other fights on the list? It feels so familial. Uh, very not depressing is like the wrong word, but you just feel more emotionally engaged as you're watching this one play out, maybe than any of the other fights. And then obviously there's a huge mech involved, and spirit energy explosions. Like it has all the makings of a cartoon action movie. It's a good, exciting fight. Uh, you,
Yeah.
you could convince
The
me that this one could be higher until you look at the rest of the list, and then you're like, oh yeah, I get it.
yeah. The thing I love about this fight is that it's somewhat contained, right? Because Korra, the episode before that, the whole mission is just get inside the big giant mech. We got to find a way in there. Um, and then the team Avatar splits up, and Korra like gets into the control room, and it's such a cool shot. Like she comes up through, like airbends out, takes out like a guard, and then her and Kuvira battle it out. Like Kuvira's metal bending the the rocks and stuff at her, or the meteorites. Um, Korra's using fire bending, air bending, and metal bending. It's just like a fight that goes really like toe to toe between these two. Um, yeah, and then it ultimately ends kind of in a draw because the whole thing blows up. But then, like Korra, like she's winning the fight. And if I was to include the part where Kuvira tries to shoot her with a giant laser gun, that just caps off Korra's character arc for one thing. If I'm including that in the fight and one of her grandest moments, greatest physical feats as an Avatar.
That's fair. That's awesome. Um, it is the it's a great conclusion to the 4 book story.
Yeah.
Very gratifying.
Number 8, the Red Lotus versus Zuko, Eska, and Desna. It's funny. This fight came out of nowhere, kind of like. So the Red Lotus is at the North Pole. Got to break Puli out because that's where she's kept. And Zuko and Eska, Desna, Tonaruk might be there too, but for some reason, I don't think he's there. No, he is there. He is there because Zuko and Zuko relates to Des and Eska by saying he also tried to kill the Avatar, just like those dude. And
That's
Korra's
such
dad
a
kind
great scene.
of yeah. And Korra's dad kind of looks at them awkwardly, like, "What the heck?" Yeah. So he's in the fight also, but man, you get to see like Zahir and Ming Hua like trying to break out Pali, and like you get a taste of Ming Hua's power. Like she creates all these freaking ice popsicles and no, she doesn't create those, but she's like swinging on them because the Escandescent makes the ice things to try and attack her, and she just swings on them, and then she like makes like a drill with the water and then drills into the ice into like the cave that Pali is at, and then Pali gets out, and then the dragon attacks Pali, and Pali just like takes that fire and then combustion bends back at him, and then you're like, holy crap, she's a combustion bender, and then eventually ends with the Red Lotus getting away.
Man, it's hard to think about anything in that fight except for the interaction with Zuko. But the probably one of the best parts about this whole season is just the what do I
Is
want to say? It's like the ensemble.
is
It's like
Gazan driving the truck, right?
is
Gazan driving the truck.
Gazan having some bullshit ability to drive. That's crap, Chris. You and I have been alive in technology for decades. No way could I hop on it. I drove tractors. There's no way I'm figuring out how to drive that truck. The fastest bullshit. You know it.
Maybe he worked construction before getting in with the Red Lotus.
But
you know, he's like
the
some New
rate
York
that the
construction guy.
Industrial
Hey,
Revolution went,
nothing,
the
but
trucks
I could.
would. The not for nothing.
not,
Hey, not for nothing.
not for nothing, but I know how to drive a diesel truck with my hand tied behind my back. Hey, hey, you.
And that's
Hey, Zahir.
That's what.
Let me get my yellow Timbs on, my butters, and let me. No, I don't know.
That's what got him the job. Oh, it's so stupid. I love it. Where the hell are we? We're on 876. We're on 6. Oh man, I keep getting all these emotional ones. I should have made you take these. Number 6, we have Suyin versus Kuvira. And so all those things I said about the last one, feeling very familial and very emotional. This one is straight up about make you cry, just knowing that they're fighting, and that's on top of the great fight itself.
That's number 7, right?
Wait, 7, 8. No, I'm sorry, you're right. I'm odds. Number 7, my mistake.
Yeah, you're good.
And that's on top of just like great metal bending, great fight scene. But is it more emotionally charged? It is. It's more emotionally charged than Korra versus Kuvira 2, which means I lied the last time I talked.
Man, the thing I love about this fight is the freaking choreography. It's like one of the, I forget who it is, but they have on their Twitter like the I want to say the penciling of it before it like went to get animated, and it is freaking absolutely beautiful. I wish I could find it, but like the moment in the fight where Kuvira, she like throws Suyin. Suyin comes up against this like metal panel. She takes that off, wraps it around herself, it's a shield as an armor, and then grabs this pole, like twists it and stuff, and then like tries to hit Kuvira. Like that fight, oh man, it's such a great. It's kind of short lived, but it's a great choreographed fight.
One thing I love about earthbending and metal bending in general, maybe maybe waterbending to some degree too, but earthbending, metal bending in general, is I do love like the creative use of structural things, landscapes. I don't know, maybe just being a solid object makes it that way, whereas or unique from the other ones. But different conversation for a different time. Tremendous fight, probably as close to crying as you'll get in this list.
Maybe.
Which one of these make you cry? That one would be. I'm looking up now. That one would be the closest to making me cry.
Nah, I think maybe the next one. All right, next one is Korra versus Unalaq. This is really Korra versus Unalaq round one because Korra versus Unavatu was a different fight. But anyway, Korra versus Unalaq round one. This is like after Unalaq merges with Vatu, but he's not like Unavatu at this point. He just is the dark avatar. So it's dark avatar versus light avatar, and like they're freaking battling out. Um, they're both on like huge freaking pillars or cylinders of water bending at each other. Unalaq can only use water bending, of course. Korra can use all the elements. It's just really like, and they're like running through the place. They're fighting in between the spirit world and the human world. Like Korra throws him over and stuff. I'm sorry, my throat. Really great fight. And the moment I loved in the fight the most, Korra gets like trapped in between these fissures, these ice fissures, and like Unalaq is like caving her in, and Korra's like, ugh, ugh. It's like pretty much like I can't do it. And then Rava speaks to her. Rava says like, you can't lose. Like the world needs you. And then she goes in the Avatar state, busts out, and like she's freaking glowing, almost like Bruce Leroy. And then she says like, "You cannot win." And she uses it in the Avatar voice, so great. And then so I thought she was gonna win the fight at that point because like that's a moment in the fight, right, where it's like, all right, the hero's down, and they finally get up and they rise to the occasion, and then they win. You rarely ever see the heroes down, they rise to the occasion, and then they lose. And she ends up losing that fight, and then losing connection to all the past lives.
Yeah,
Rob was
man.
killed. So that part
When Rocky
is
gets up, you know it's over. You know.
Yeah.
I think the previous one's more sad, but that's just me. That's our family.
The death of the connection to the past lives. People
she
literally hate Korra for that.
Know them. She doesn't know them.
But we, the audience, and it killed like every freaking like Unalaq, right? They're in this tug of war, and then for some reason Unalaq go, and then like Vatu comes out of him, and then like goes into Korra, takes out Rava, and just like throws her on the freaking floor, and then water whips her, like.
I think
water whips her, and then like with each slash, boom, Kyoshi, boom, Roku, boom, then Aang, and it's like
but there's still something to the nebulousness of the rules of that whole second book that just makes it lose weight to me. It's still a cool fight though. It's cool to see, but it's like you're watching a different series than Korra. It's like it's more like watching a Dragon Ball series or something than a Korra series.
It's way better story than Dragon Ball series.
That's fair.
The Dragon Ball series
low blow. Like, no, you're right. It was a low blow. I didn't mean to.
I love Dragon Ball Z. I really do.
You don't watch it for the narratives.
I mean, I even like a lot of the narratives. Just there are plot holes all throughout, and characters do really dumb stuff. Like, hey, I'm gonna let this evil person go absorb this other evil person so they can get stronger because I want to test my strength. Even though I know that they're wanting to kill the world, they want to destroy the whole world.
But how can I know how strong I am?
Exactly. Or Goku's
this is
thing.
Patrick.
I just fought Cell I can't beat him. My son, me and Cell just fought for a while. We're both kind of depleted. Hey, Gohan, I can defeat Cell. My son, can you go defeat him? I believe in you. He's like, all right, Dad. And then he gives Cell a Senzu bean, which heals you immediately, 100%. And everyone's like, what the heck, Goku? Like, why'd you give him a Senzu bean? And then Goku's like, it wouldn't be fair. Like, he's trying to destroy the world, Goku.
Can you like take this one serious, man?
Yeah.
That we have so many umbrages with the plot holes of that film, of that storyline. What number are we on? We're on number 5. Oh, this is a great one.
Yes.
This is a great one. Korra and Tonrock versus Zahir. I feel like this is one of the first places where you get a big picture, or at least you're starting to get the big picture of Zahir's full powers and sort of the seriousness of his characters and what he's willing to go through on his own without the rest of Red Lotus necessarily. It's cool to see Korra and Tonrock fight together. Great choreography. Seeing Airbender be the bad guy. What else? The stakes are impossibly high. Not sure what else there can. It's until you look at the rest of the list, it's one that you could easily just be like, "How is that not higher?" Until you look at the next 4 things on the list.
Yeah, the thing I love about this fight, there's 2 things I really love about it. The first is the father-daughter relationship. Like
Is this the
they just
is this the
you
only
never
time we
seen them
get
fight.
that really? That like
The
father dad. Well, I guess Sokka kind of,
parent
but
kids.
yeah,
They only. I mean, that was kind of. I wouldn't. I mean, there was that time in the invasion where Sokka and Katara teams up with their dad Hakoda to go take out some type of thing.
but does
But that
have a
didn't
different feel to it.
yeah, go to it. The only other thing I could see relating to that is Heiron and Rongi fighting Tagaka, um, like forces and stuff. But even then, like that was more so like, oh, they told me that they fought in such unison that it was great. Like here, we see it with Korra and Tonrock. Like they were just fighting so well together. That's like, oh, that connection between father and daughter is really close. The second thing I really love about this fight is that Korra is shackled. Like she is handicapped in this fight, and she is still giving Zahir the business. Like, and she has to bend differently, right? And she like shifts differently. She airbends, like kicks her feet and stuff. There's one moment where she almost gets tossed off the edge, and then Tanarock does a water whip, catches the chain, freezes it to reinforce it, throws her up, and then like Korra attacks Zahir from that. Such a great fight. Then it ends with Zahir throwing Tanarock over the edge, and Korra getting the wind knocked out of her.
Um, I think there's something that feels different about this fight because honestly, just like they're both bending, and it feels much more head to head. It's less tactical. It feels more like just a direct head to head ring matchup rather than any amount of strategy or whatever. And I just don't feel like there's any other fight in either series that I can think of that recreates that feeling quite the same way.
Yeah, I get that. Number 4. Glad I got this one, Shawn, because you don't appreciate it as much as I do.
I don't.
One
Let me tell
versus
you why I don't.
Vatu. Juan versus Vatu. This fight is legend. Wait for it. Dairy. It is like what legends are made of. It's the first Avatar versus the living embodiment of darkness and chaos. Like I just love when the fight starts off. Like Juan goes up to him and Vatu's like, "A human? You what? Like what can a human do?" And Juan is like, "Have you heard the legends? I'm no ordinary human anymore." And it just and then they get into the fight, and it ends. You think Juan? This one like probably the longest fights. That's like just continuous. because also a lot of the other fights we see, um, there's multiple fights happening, right? Like in Avatar, there's Aang versus Ozai, but at the same time, there's Azula versus Zuko, or I'm sorry, or Katara versus Azula, or the White Lotus, freeing Basase, or Sokka stuff. This fight, it is like, no, this is the story, one fight, and then so you get to really hone in on it. And at one point, Juan is losing, and he has to fuse with Rava. And then he fuses Rava permanently, and then they're like, "We are bonded forever." And then they fight, and then he unleashes all the four elements at Vatu, puts him in the spear, and then seals him away for 10,000 years.
I don't respect this fight, but
Shut up, Shawn. I'm kidding.
but nothing is more important to me than your happiness and gratification. I just so where our core differences lie in this episode is kind of like what am I? So like the reason that you like the beach and I don't, right, is you just tend to appreciate more than I do anything that's like the flashback or the added lore or whatever. Is I just usually like my lore built into the chronology of the show. This feels like a different story. It's not that's not important to the
I'm
Korra
gonna
story
I'm
being
gonna
told.
force you to write like love scenes in the kitsune
You know
thing
what's
or
gonna happen in
romantic.
my love scene is be like they went behind closed doors, did stuff you don't need to worry about, and then he went on to his next thing, and you just
Well, no, not. It doesn't have to be set. I'm not talking about set scene.
that's no, you don't get to know.
Just,
It's just behind closed doors,
oh,
at
okay.
the privacy of their own. You none your business. That's what it is. No, at least that was weird. Did I just disappear for like a second?
No, I don't think you did.
Oh, good. What I will say
I
is I
muted. Like,
do, I do. All jokes aside, I really do like this fight just standalone by itself. I might have my qualms with the episode and the utility of it in the season, but it is a really cool fight. It's well written. It's interesting. It does add very excellent background lore. So I honestly have no problems with this fight. It's not like it's Jet or something. Number 3 is, man, the top 3 fights. They're so good. They're so good, and it makes sense too.
I,
We'll
I,
get to it in a
I
second.
just noticed. Yeah. Okay. You probably saw the same trend that I
Yeah, I
was picking up
did,
on.
and you'll all see it too. But you'll understand. I think you'll all understand. Number 3 is Red Lotus versus Team Avatar. So Team Avatar specifically on the Korra kidnap attempt, not the other things that we will talk about. And I'm just gonna say it's hard not to talk about all these fights kind of next to one another. But again, you're seeing like the Red Lotus as they're coming back together. They're like regaining their full power as a group, going against Team Avatar, and it just feels like the stakes are impossibly high, and it's a well choreographed group fight with all types of different bending and different action going on at different times. It's I don't know. It's probably just as interesting as getting as watching any fight in any animation could be outside of a show dedicated to fights that last whole episodes.
Yeah, this fight. It does. Thing is, this fight. I want to say it lasts probably about 8 minutes, but it feels like it's the whole episode.
Is it that okay? I was gonna say it. Well,
Because there's a lot of setup, right? Like the episode starts off with like them saying bye to Opal, um, and stuff, and then after the big fight, it ends with them like trying to search for who is the mole. So the the fight, I want to say lasts maybe 8 minutes, which is pretty long for a fight. But it feels like most of the episode is this big fight.
I'm struggling to think of like what else goes on in the episode because even the setup just feels like they're already in that
It's
arena
pretty,
in that space.
yeah.
Like even to say build up is like no, it's almost more like the monologue before the wrestling match starts. and I'm okay with that. I think that's great. So, yeah, tremendous fight. It's hard to say. It's hard to talk about this fight without talking about other stuff. Quite
Yeah,
frankly,
one of the things I love about this fight is that, again, I forget what fight we're talking about before, but this fight came out of nowhere. Like, I wasn't expecting to have one of the best fights in this episode. Like, all right, hey, bye, Opal. Okay, we're spending the night in the Middle Clan. Cool.
is it
And
maybe?
then, oh crap.
Is it because it's sooner than you were expecting? Like it.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
Fair to
Um,
just like chronologically
and
in
then,
the series for something that's
yeah, and then they sneak into the Middle Clan and they successfully knock out Korra. And then you're like, holy crap, they got Korra. And then like Pabu is trying to wake up. Shout out to Pabu. Um, waking up Boleg, and Bolen's like, oh, they got Korra. It's like, they got Korra. And then like things picked up so soon from there. Like they're out there. It's the fight is so spontaneous that they're all fighting in their draws. Like what fight
just
are the main
just
characters
outside a hotel
fighting?
room in their undies.
Oh no, not this one. Oh well,
Wait,
there's that one too. I was talking about the one where they're in the Metal Clan, where they
I'm with you
uh
now. I got my.
okay. Well, there's that one also, but
It's
uh
that's more tower
hey,
defense game. You're right.
Korra does get kidnapped twice. Take. I should have been more specific.
No, you're right
You're
though.
probably like, why are they in their underwear?
No,
Um,
it took me a minute to catch up. Like I said, the other one there, it's more tower defense. It's not bad, but it's less exciting.
yeah. Um, and then then it ends with Bolin getting the pebble shot at Pali. Like everything, like there's so much tension and stuff built up. Like, all right, can they defeat them? Like, can they get Korra back? And the Pali and Suyin, not Pali, Suyin and Lin ends up getting Korra back. To me, that was the episode that like took season 3 from being like, oh, this is a really great season to like, holy crap, this season is just picking up.
Hmm? Which I feel like is a great segue to our number 2 entry, which is Tenzin, Kaya, and Bumi versus the Red Lotus. So the Aang kids versus the Red Lotus. And the best part about this, the most important part about this fight, is Tenzin had him on the ropes. Had him on the ropes. And in your heart, you know that they can't win, right? You know it can't be, like, the season's not going to end here. You know that the good guys can't win yet. But, like, they had him dead to rights. And you're so excited, and it's such a touching such a touching thing to witness all three of them fighting together like that against the Red Lotus in defense of Korra, who again, not their child, not their relative, just the next Avatar.
Yeah, I mean but it goes back to season 2, right? Because season 2, those three have these arguments about like Tenzin's like, I'm the only one that can defend Dad's that has to carry on Dad's legacy, and then they're like, he had 2 other kids, like we are here for also his legacy, and then so but they're not only protecting the new air nomads, which is Aang's legacy. They're also there to protect Korra, which is also Aang's legacy, and they are Aang's legacy as well. It's like just great storytelling there. Like, and the two are overmatched. Kaya, some people give Kaya crap because like some people are like, "Come on, y'all, she's a dark Katara. She could hold her own against Ming Hua." You gotta also understand that Kaya is like 50 years old at this point. And also Ming Hua isn't just some slack waterbender. Like she's probably, I don't know where we ranked her, but she's top 7 at least.
Well, and also that's just not how genetics work. You know, my dad was bald and a great basketball player, so you win some, you lose some.
Or genetics work out like me and my dad. We're both like just exactly the
Spitting
same
image.
height, same hair. I look more like my mom, but just when it comes to just like
In
our,
high school,
our
I looked
stature.
exactly like my dad in high school. Now I look exactly like my dad did at my age with hair. But my dad already had 4 kids by my age, so he was tired. Long story short, that's not how genetics work.
Yeah. Um. but the fight. Um. Yeah, I mean, it's the fight seems from the point of view of Kai and Bumi, the fight seems so perilous. Like they are just holding on, kind of for dear life. Literally, they get to a point where uh, where Minghua and Gazan corners them, and they're just hanging on to the edge of a balcony. And like Kaya's like, you gotta let go. He's like, if I let go, we're gonna die. She's like, if you don't let go, we're gonna die. And then he like does some airbending thing. He lets go at just the right time. I'm sorry, people. Um,
It's like flu
and
season where
yeah,
flu allergy cold.
and then Tenzin is just giving Zahir the business. Like, there's a point in the fight where he is winning the fight. He's gonna win the
He
fight.
is.
And you
He's
as the
got.
audience member,
It's just a frustrating feeling because, like I said, in your heart, you know that Tenzin's not going to come out on top, but he's there. He's got it won, and he just
yeah,
It's like when your team
yeah,
is up. You know, Chris, you're watching the Lakers, and they're up by 9, and it's just the arm's length, and you know that, like, well, we're up by 9. Just hold them arm's length the whole game. He's like, you can't just put them down, and they don't do it.
yeah. And then they end up the Red Lotus ends up jumping Tenzin to where they pretty much say like give up, and Tenzin's like not as I as long as I draw breath, I won't give up, which is an interesting kind of connection to him being an airbender.
Airbender, yeah.
Um,
Speaking of which, best airbending. Gosh, is this some of the best airbending we see outside of? Maybe
and a fight,
this might be the best offensive airbending.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you kind of it leaves you on a cliffhanger of like, did he survive? Even though I'm like, when they leave on a cliffhanger, like, okay, well, he survived, because if he died, they would have showed him
Yeah,
die. They
that would
wouldn't
be
leave
the
him.
cliffhanger.
They
Is what
wouldn't.
do you do after he dies?
Yeah, they wouldn't open up the first minutes of the next episode killing him. That's not how TV works.
Yes,
But still, nonetheless, they left it on some type of note of wanting more.
agreed.
Yeah, great, great fight. All
Uh,
right,
let's do some honorable mentions, and then you'll take the top one.
all right. Honorable mentions. Uh,
You just read a bunch of them until
Nut-
you hit something that strikes your fancy to discuss.
okay. Korra versus Tarlock. This was in my top 10 for a little bit, and then I just had to move it because I love that fight. Because Korra goes to like talk to Tarlock, and they end up in a freaking brawl. They end up with him bloodbending her. But that was a great fight.
Mm-hmm.
Korra versus Zaman, kind of short lived. Not a long fight because the fight goes one side in one way and then kind of one side the other way. But Korra unlocks her airbending. Uh, Korra and Lin versus the Equalist. Kind of that first, I think it was a championship match. Those two, like Korra finally earns kind of the respect of Lin, and like they both, like there's just a cool scene of Korra falling and then Lin catching her, and then like almost catapulting her up into the Equalist ship and stuff.
That's just a great Lin scene, top to bottom. That's
Yeah,
fantastic Lin middle bendy.
yeah. Lin and Su Yin versus Pali. That was hard not to put on there. It's just that one mostly is carried by the death of Pali.
It's just the moment that makes it good. The rest of it isn't like. I mean, it's tense. It's great, but not. I completely agree with your omission in this case.
Yeah. And then Nut Tuck saves the president. Not my favorite thing, but thought Shawn will like it.
It's a fun inclusion.
That might be one of the people complain about season 2. And the things I complain about season two are nothing about what a lot of people complain about season two. I hate Bolin.
That's not how Bolin would behave.
I just hated how he treated Mako in book two a lot. Like that's your brother. Like you didn't like what? That's your ride or die. He like raised you, and you're just like, you're in jail. Sorry,
And that's not
can't.
how he would act. That's like
Yeah,
the character evidence of Bolin. I know he's young, but that's not how he would
yeah.
behave.
That was to me that was the worst
But Neptech
writing.
saving the president is at least a fun inclusion as an HM.
Yeah.
Are you going to read the rest?
Oh sure, I forgot about the rest.
I can read the rest if you
Zahir
want.
versus. Okay, sure, go ahead.
Zahir versus Kaya is great. Actually, I'm more interested in the next one, Kuvir versus the Bandits. I think that does.
Yeah,
I think that's a great, relatable villain introduction. It's a great
yeah.
villain intro. Lin versus Suyin, obviously very touching and emotional, but I understand why, from a fight perspective, why it maybe doesn't need to be in the top 10, but it has to be discussed. In Korra versus Kuvira 1, uh, maybe not the most interesting fight, but just the fact that you see your avatar get knocked down and taken out.
Yeah.
Yeah, great HMs. Chris, do you want to do the number one?
Number one, no surprise, it
No.
is Zahir versus Korra. Holy crap! This is the fight that reminds me the most of Aang versus Ozai. It's just Korra fully unleashed, but also Korra. It's like 1v2 this fight because Korra is trying to fight Zahir. She's also trying to fight the poison. The Avatar State isn't helping her out because Avatar State is trying to fight the poison, but also if she dies to Avatar State, she would lose the connection. And from book two, Korra has a better sense of what that connection really is and what it really means. And so, more than anything, she wants to fight for that, and also that connection to Rava. Um, and it is a huge fight. Like Korra is bending freaking what feels like mountains. Like I know they're not mountains that she's throwing at Zahir, but from the camera's angle, it looks like she's throwing mountains at him, which is freaking amazing. And then man, it ends with like Korra, you're not sure if she's gonna make it because she legit dies. I mean, not legit dies, not like, but she was close to death, and it felt. I think at that point in watching the show, I don't think I was certain what the next season was going to be about. Yeah, this is book three. Okay, yeah, I wasn't certain what that season was going to be about. Like, it could have been Korra could die. Like, it's interesting because it's different from Aang getting shot by lightning, right? 'Cause I'm like, all right, Aang gets shot by lightning. Looks like he's dying, but I know Aang's not going to die because he's the main character and you need him. But you don't necessarily need Korra because there is no big bad villain after Zahir that you're aware of.
There's no
So
lingering unfinished business at this point.
yeah,
That's maybe a
yeah,
boon of having. Well, I suppose it could be good or bad of having such independent seasons.
yeah, well, yeah. And then man, when yeah, great freaking fight. That's one of those fights that I'm just like, man, they were. Oh, and that's choreographed so well. Not only choreographed so well, but like shot so well. Even though they don't shoot these things, like just the camera angles were crazy. The animators were going off in this fight.
I also think it's just very gratifying, right? You've got a great season of work overall, and it just gratifying enough to match it. Not that I would expect a letdown or anything, but it could have been or anticlimactic. It's like, no,
Yeah,
it's a great gratifying fit inside of a great season.
yeah. Speaking of which, the trend here is that these top three fights are all from book three of Korra.
And
Yeah.
for the top five.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. For the top five.
Man, we
Uh,
should have kicked Juan versus Vatu down. No, I'm just kidding.
and then 5 of the 10 is book 3.
But that matches. I mean, it matches the vibe of that season, right? Just a
Yeah.
multitude of different bending types. Very sort of not militant, but chaotic. Chaotic bad guys, right? They're not like lawful good Kuvira types. Like no, they're in for chaos. I feel like that breeds more combat. I don't know, just more. Let me think. Yeah, I don't know. Everything about this season is just set up to have more direct conflicts, and it does it good.
Yeah.
Does it good about book 3. Chris, great list. Thanks for putting it together. Looks fantastic, and you know what? That's probably directly and literally why I like book 3. Man, did we decide? Did we just do our favorites before? Or did we do like rankings based on ratings?
We might have done both. I know we definitely did the rankings by
Do I
ratings.
do I like book 3 better than book 1? Yes, I think I do. Just in terms of like in a nutshell, just watching it. It's tough though because I love book 1.
Yeah,
Also,
it is. It's sorry. Yeah, it might be clearly book 3, but book 1 is not far behind.
it's not, and book 1 just has a much like such a tight story, and I always appreciate that. Like it does not take long for it to engage you and tell you a tremendous narrative. That was our best fights in Korra. Thank you for listening. My name's Shawn Shaler. That's my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek. Has been Avatar: The Last Podcasters. If you can spare us any likes, comments, positive reviews, subs, bells, whatever, we appreciate it all. Thanks for putting up with us as we both. I know I've got some laryngitis, and Chris got some laryngitis probably also. It's that time of year. And come back next week. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for next week's episode. It was 1 or 2 weeks ago when I mentioned there was an episode idea that we had, and I didn't write it down. I couldn't remember what it was, and I was so upset. That next week is that episode, and I remembered what it was, and I'm so excited. So come back next week for that episode. No spoilers, just come watch. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.